Hello, and welcome to episode 31 of Chapter 1. We're already off topic. 3 women, 1 podcast, and we're all a little bit fangirling tonight because we have a special guest with us. I'm Mary.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Elizabeth.
And tonight we are super excited to have as our special guest the author, the queen herself of The Poison Daughter, Sheila Masterson. Hello,
Hi.
Sheila.
I am so excited to be here, and I love that introduction. Maybe I should make it a requirement that everybody calls me a queen when I when I am a guest. I love it.
Look, it happened once, it must happen always.
Exactly. New rule developed right now, live.
Exactly.
Well, before we dive into some of our most important questions, like are you Team Edward or Team Jacob? What is everyone having tonight? I don't know, Sheila, if you brought any snacks or a drink, but we always start our episodes with like a little snack.
Yeah. I'm just having a seltzer right now, a watermelon lime seltzer, because I will probably have dinner right after this, so trying not to spoil my dinner. Yeah.
That's fair. I spoil my dinner every Wednesday night. We are having chocolate chip muffins. It was
nice.
a 2 birds, 1 stone situation because now I don't have to worry about breakfast for my kids tomorrow. And we are having our tried and true, we're back to it, our cinnamon tea.
Cinnamon tea.
Classic. You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
I'm doing a chocolate cheesecake. It is from HelloFresh because I
Okay.
didn't have time to bake. But
Love
they're
that.
really good.
It looks
I mean,
good.
that looks phenomenal.
And then I'm doing my classic London fog because it's my favorite.
Always a London fog.
I love that we started with snacks. This is my kind of podcast.
Oh, so I had to actually speak to some kids in the high school for my kids' co-op and about podcasting because it was their like creative arts, whatever they're doing like that, and so they were doing like a unit on podcasting. And I told them, I told my friend who's the teacher of that class, I was like, I'll do it, but I will not be telling them what the podcast is. And she was just like, that's fair. And so like I was telling them, I was like, for our podcast, like, we just I was like, I recommend just like a little shtick, like something that is like, unique to you. And I was like, for us, we just we eat snacks.
I respect it. I think like it's very, who doesn't love snacks, honestly.
And it's fun. Like I get to kind of just decide like, what am I baking this week? So it's a
And
good
that's
time.
all you, because I don't bake.
You get to just benefit from it, which is honestly, that's also my ideal position in a friendship or relationship of any kind, is someone else can cook for me.
Yeah.
Elizabeth was
She'll
sick one
randomly
week.
buy me flour or something.
Like, here's some sugar, here's some flour.
Yes, see, helping. That's
show up
me.
with
I'm like,
coffee
I will
creamer.
bring the sugar. Yeah.
We've decided Elizabeth has to be with someone for the podcast. She was sick one week and by herself, and she showed up with just a beer and a bag of Skittles, and we were like, no.
I was like, it's what I got.
I respect it, but that is giving like breakup meal. Like it's giving breakup energy. I'm not gonna lie.
You're like, I respect it, however.
Yeah, you gotta lock it up a little. Yeah.
So Sheila, not a question, but I stalked your bio, and I saw that you used to write Goosebumps fan fiction, and as a like huge R.L. Stine fan from back in the day,
Huge fan. Yeah.
I have to know more. Can I find it somewhere still? Is it still
Oh my God.
out there?
No, because it was like pre AO3. I'm old. I'm 40. So it was like pre
Well,
AO3.
Elizabeth's a baby.
So like I have it here, like in a notebook that my mom kept
Oh my
from.
God.
And there's actually several of them in here, so they're not great. I don't know if you guys are gonna believe this, but like they're not very good. I did write them when I was like 8 or something, so they're about what you would expect. But yeah, I unironically say all the time that I think R.L. Stine is like one of the authors who influenced my writing like a lot because I read I think like every Fear Street book. Like I read some of the Goosebumps, but I was like obsessed with Fear Street. I think I read every single one. And I think I did learn a lot about tension and like suspense. And I don't know if you know that he was a guest on V.E. Schwab's podcast, No Right Way, last year, I
No.
think.
No.
Yeah. And it was an amazing interview. He's so like he's had like such an interesting life. I mean, not a surprise at all. But I loved getting to see an interview with him because I've never like he's not really like in the public eye so much as like other authors.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great. I highly recommend. Yeah. Not to
Awesome.
refer us to other podcasts, but like it was so good and I was like so excited seeing his name come up. So yeah.
Absolutely. That's so cool.
Like, I remember Goosebumps and the Babysitter's Club books. Those were my
Yes.
gateway books into reading. I
Yeah,
picked those up,
I
never put books down. So I've
yes,
been
I
reading this entire time.
loved Babysitter's Club. Like I think I started with like Babysitter's Little Sister or whatever, and then I read all the Babysitter's Club. And then Francine Pascal had this series about a girl born without the gene for fear. It was called Fearless. And it was like a huge series. I can't remember. It's like 20 books long or something like that. And I think I read every single one of those as well. And she was older. That was like college age or whatever. So that's probably like what we would call like new adult now. But I found one of her books for like every age range, essentially like one of her series. Which also like now as an author, I'm like, that was actually pretty genius of her, like to
Yes.
have something for like every age group, because then as you're aging up, she has something that's for you also, which is brilliant. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That is brilliant.
Super
I don't think
smart.
I would have. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, right? I know. I'm like, wow, she was like just really ahead of her time.
For sure, for sure. Do you want me to? Are we just? We didn't talk about this beforehand. Do you just want me to? Do you just want us to?
We have questions. You know how, like,
You guys go next. We'll just keep.
Okay.
We made a list.
yeah, we did. So, you know how, like, it felt very much like I feel like I'm preparing for a date or something, you know?
I know she was
love it.
on a little Google Doc, and she was like, "I feel like I'm like trying to like ask questions like I'm on a date." Like she was like, "Is this?"
No.
She was like, "I mean, am I on the right track with that?" Like,
Oh my God. No, I love it. Is this spoilers or no spoilers, or is it like
we
spoiler free?
still,
Okay.
We spill everything.
Well, we have
Okay, good.
Do not
Okay.
come to us if you don't want spoilers.
Okay, perfect,
we've
perfect,
done the
perfect.
entire book, so it's like, do not watch this episode unless
Okay.
you've read
Yeah.
The Poison Daughter. So that's our disclaimer.
Perfect.
and the reason why,
Perfect.
so we always assume because it's so funny because we come on here and it'll be like we're like middle way through the book or whatever, and then I'm like, well, I'm not trying to spoil it, but I'm like, if you're watching it, you've probably read these chapters. So, I'm like, because who's gonna be like, oh, let me pop in for chapters 18 to whatever, like, yeah.
So, so true. Very fair. Very fair. Yeah, I think for me, I'm just always like, oh gosh, like, is this one where I'm supposed to say stuff that happens, or is it like for some it's like we have a conversation first and then like where we do spoiler free things and then we kind of go into like the rest of it. So I just wanted to make sure so I didn't
sounds-
ruin
that would've
anything
made
for anyone.
sense.
I kind of assumed with the way that you have it structured that was how it, since it's like more of a read along kind of thing. So
Girl, honestly though, you said that and I was like, maybe I was like,
don't let me.
very smart. Can you tell again that we're pretty relaxed?
I love
Okay,
it.
I'll go next. So, I know it's a standalone, but is there any chance for like a spin-off or like would you ever consider revisiting this world in future projects or
Yeah, I definitely left a couple of threads open, and like that weren't like critical to the main plot. And usually when my brain does that, and I know I'm talking about my brain as if it's like a separate entity from me, but a lot of the time when I'm developing story ideas, it's like it does feel like there's sort of like a background process going on that I'm not as aware of. And even as I'm writing, because I'm not a person who plots from the very beginning, I kind of have to be inside of the story and I do a little bit at a time. I've kind of gotten used to the fact that my brain will just like put stuff in there sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know why that's there, or I don't know why I put this character into this scene, and then later I'm like, oh, that's why, like, and like something like clicks in my brain. So this has happened before. My book Song of the Darkwood, which is one of my backlist books. Originally, I was like, oh yeah, this is a standalone, and then I was sort of like, well, I have these two like sort of loose threads, like side subplots in the story that I was like, I do kind of have an idea there. And I didn't want to say it first. I wanted to like make sure that I felt like I had a strong enough story. And this is similar. Like I would really need to feel like whatever I was writing, I had like it was as strong of a story to be like on the shelf next to The Poison Daughter, because this book has been so well loved. And I think that sometimes when something comes out like second and it's not liked quite as much, it feels like it sort of skews people's opinion of the original thing. So I would really
So
want
that's
it to,
fair.
yeah, I would really want it to feel like it was just as strong. And I don't have like a full idea yet, but like I've got like some little bits and pieces, and so I don't know what that would look like. It could be a short story, it could be a novella, it could be a full book. But I'm also like, oh my God, it took me so long to write The Poison Daughter that I'm like a little daunted by the thought of writing another one. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we'll just in 3 years, we'll have another one come out. But it is nice to like be in a world like I love this world. I love the magic system. I really like the characters. Um, I do think it would probably have to be. I know everybody wants more of Henry and Harlow, but I feel like it would probably have to be someone else's story, and they would probably be in there somewhere, but I feel like things are pretty resolved
Bryce needs
for
love
them.
too. Bryce
I
needs some love
know, I
too.
know, and that's what everybody says. Is everybody's like, "Are we gonna get a
He
Bryce
needs
book?"
to
And I'm
see
like,
color
"Are
too,
we?"
damn it.
So,
When I
and
tell you that I had finished it and they were both like, well, does he see color? When does he see color? Is he seeing color in these chapters? Is it here? Is it now? Are we going to have, is it going to happen? And I was like, it's going to be a minute. It's going to be a minute.
it's so funny because I think like for every romance reader clocks that immediately. They're like, oh, oh, he can't see color unless he falls in love. He's gonna see color. When
He's
is he
going to
gonna
see
see color?
color.
And then it's just like everybody's immediately like, when's this gonna happen? But that was one where I was like, oh yeah, this will be like a really cool thing. Like that's gonna be such a good payoff. But the downside was that then I had to write most of the book for a character who can't see color at all, which meant that I had to keep describing things in black and white, which is actually really hard to do when you can see in color. And so I had
That's
to like,
fair.
I mean that I was like, oh, cool, cool. This was like a really cool idea that pre-drafting Sheila had that now I am having to answer for, and that bitch overpromises every time. Like truly, I was like, what have I done? So there was a lot of editing in those scenes for sure. And even I've been working on some additional bonus content, like being back in Henry's head. I'm like, God damn it. Why? And I'm like, here we are again, same mistakes repeatedly.
I loved it though. I
But
thought
I
it was a
do love
cool
the payoff.
bonding
I love that
experience.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah, because like when she would describe what she was wearing and like the colors and
The cute
stuff,
little,
I thought
yeah.
that I thought that was really cool, like showing like the connection that was forming, that she would be thoughtful enough to tell him that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, but he's just the job, whatever.
Yeah, I know. Well, she like is convincing herself that she's just like taunting him with it, but I'm like, girl,
So,
girl,
fun
you
fact,
like him.
my husband was born without the sense of smell.
Oh my
So
gosh.
when I describe something that smells a certain way, I have to do it by like taste.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
like, well,
that's
it
so
smells like
interesting.
how an orange tastes. Like, certain
Family
things like
member who
that.
is like that, she had scarlet fever when she was really young, and it like she lost her sense of smell because of it. And you would think, like, I think of all the senses, I'm like, that's probably the one that I could give up the most, but it does change how things taste. Like anybody who's had a really bad cold knows that it changes how things taste. And I think it's so interesting, like how many things, like you wouldn't smell smoke, like like all these different things, and you'd be like, oh
Oh my
wow, that
gosh.
that could be like a problem in some situations.
That's how they kind of found out that my husband couldn't smell because his was from birth. So, anytime someone was like, ooh, that stinks, he would just play along. But when he was younger, apparently his brother playing around, house playing, he somehow turned the gas stove on and the
No.
gas filled up. And
Oh my
he
God.
was sitting there at the table doing his homework and was getting that, like, I'm going to go to sleep now. And his dad
Oh
came in the house and found him there and pulled him out and had to, like, turn off the stove.
oh
And they
my
were like,
God.
what is wrong with you? Why didn't you smell that? And that's how they found out he could smell. But he went years. Like, they just never knew because he didn't know that anything was wrong.
Oh my
He
God.
didn't know that things stink.
Okay, well, like new fear unlocked.
Yeah.
That's-
I was like, yeah.
guess he's
Oh my
not going to be,
gosh.
Yeah.
auditioning, applying to be like a firefighter.
Oh well,
No,
yeah.
just see smoke. That's it.
Probably not,
Um,
yeah.
But kind of speaking on things like that, one of the questions we had was as far as Harlow, she had those headaches or migraines. I mean, was it really like migraines that she was having, or was it something else? And is that something that Henry maybe later on could cure? Spoilers for your future book.
Yeah, I think they're just sort of like something that was there, like always there for her, like for a lot of people who are chronically ill, where I think that there's often this, as I've had migraines since like for as long as I can remember. Like I don't remember a time before having them. And so I think like often what happens is everybody wants to like fix it, like very well meaning. Um, but like it just is, and even she sort of gets like pulled into that because also if you deal with chronic pain, you're like, yeah, like I'll try anything. And I think that one of the big moments for her is that Henry, he doesn't really try to, he gives her like an option, but he doesn't try to fix it. And he also doesn't treat her any differently, which I think is what a lot of people who are chronically ill are looking for. And a lot of the reason that people are private about stuff that they have going on is just because everybody gets weird when you tell them. Like,
It's
it's
true.
not even that you like want any sort of like special attention or anything. You just kind of want the acknowledgement that this is like something that you're dealing with. And so I think that one of the things that he does so well and that is sort of really kind of novel for her is that he is just kind of the same. Even when he's like laying on the floor with her in the bathroom, but he's also like still like teasing her and stuff,
Yeah.
like calling her prickly and all this stuff. And he's just like so unfazed by how mean she is.
And we
And
love him. We love him for that. Like, he
yeah,
is such a fun boyfriend. Like,
yeah. And I think like he clearly likes to be roasted a little bit. Like
mhm.
he was enjoying
That
himself.
banter back and forth. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And he like I think he likes that she is like very not afraid of him, even though he's also very thrown off by it. Because imagine you're like, oh, I'm gonna be engaged to this pretty vapid like bimbo city girl, and instead she's like a serial killer, and just like casually tried to kill you. Not you specific, but like you general, and then you specific later.
The way that she would get so creative with her, like,
Her
Deliverance
embroidered
of
pillow.
pregnant. Yeah.
Yes,
like,
yeah, I have
Like, she
I
didn't
have one
just
back there.
ask. She was like, I'm going to embroider this.
Yeah, yeah, she is like nothing if not committed to the bit. Like she is gonna make it look good. It's not enough just to like threaten someone. You have to like make it stylish.
Hmm.
she is one of my favorite FMCs right now. Like, I just love how, like, strong she is, but also how vulnerable she is, and how, like, And I think it just shows how you can be this person that presents really strong and does have this confidence and does have these things, but also has like this really, really big mental load that you're also carrying.
Yeah.
And I love her. She's hilarious. Like, I just adore her. I mean, her and Henry both are just the coolest. I just love them.
Oh my gosh, it makes me so happy too. I was really curious how people, I had a feeling that people would really like her because she is a lot bolder. I think it's she's an older character, so she's a little more like self-actualized. I've before this have mostly written younger FMCs, um, mostly because of like sort of how the stories were structured and what was happening in them. But this one is the first time I've like written an older character, and I did have such a good time with it because she is coming from like a completely different set of life experiences, and I also love the idea that she is like experienced in terms of like relationships and like physically being with other, like physical intimacy, but has like not like her first kiss is sort of like that scene where they kiss, which is like so funny to think about, like that she's like done all this other stuff and she's pretty like open about it. But she's so inexperienced in this one like very close physical intimacy thing. And so it just kind of makes the whole thing more interesting. And even in that moment where she's like kissing him and she's like she kind of thought that it was only something that was fascinating to her because she couldn't do it. Like it's only interesting because it's like novel for me, as opposed to like the fact that she was like, oh wait, like now I kind of get it. Like I get why people like this. Like maybe they
Kissing's the
weren't
best.
exaggerating. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It helps that like Henry is, him.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think like the funniest thing about her is that she's like so attracted to him immediately, because he's very good looking, and also just like refuses to give him like even an inch of like anything, like just will like never let him have a moment of peace. And you have to respect that, I think.
Oh, for sure.
So one of the great debates we had was there's a scene where where they're like with the breeder, and Harlow
Hmm.
kind of blacks out and kills Joe. And we
Hmm.
had this kind of debate because we were like, what caused the blackout? And so I think I can't remember if it was Elizabeth or Catherine, but they felt like it was the trauma of falling
I
off
think
of
it
the
was the drama.
balcony.
I was like, it's the balcony.
And I was like, she's just in a blind rage. Like she's
Yeah, yeah. So in my head, when I was thinking about her as a character, we get glimpses, like bits and pieces of her childhood, and one of the things that can happen for people who have that kind of like complex developmental trauma is that like they will get these things that just like trigger something, and that like fear response is so intense that sometimes it's like you just are like gone for a second. Like it's like something else takes over. It's like this like animal survival thing. And so when she like when things finally like slow enough that she realizes what has happened, she's a little like like horrified. Also like what just happened. But we do see like bits and pieces of it in less intense ways in other things, like when Kellen takes her down like the stairs toward the cove to see that piece of art that is familiar, and she's sort of like not there for a second, and she like is like recalling these things like I'm 8 years old and like this is what's happening, or I'm and then like all of a sudden she's like back there again, and he's sort of like you good, like clearly like he has noticed that something is going on. So I think it's sort of similar to that. And I think there's like one or two other times where it happens like that. And so it's more of like a like adrenaline like flood. Your system kind of gets flooded. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you have complex developmental trauma like that, your brain is physically different. Um, and so your response to stress is really different in that it's often a lot more difficult to talk about what's happening in that moment, because you're less able to like verbally process stuff, but you are able to kind of like react quickly and solve a problem, which in that moment she did. Like she did react quickly and solve a problem, even though again, she is not normally like a super physically violent person. She knows how to defend herself, obviously. But yeah, she definitely had a moment there.
She for sure did.
She's taking care of business.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's just like, whoa. Scared. Oops.
So here's another one. So is Abel a redeemable character?
Oh, it's such a good question. I guess, you know, perhaps we'll find out at some point in the future. Um, I I really liked getting to have that part at the end. I also think one of the interesting things about this book is that I feel like anybody who has siblings, especially if there's an like a significant age gap, like I'm 9 and 11 years older than my sisters, and I we have a brother in between there too, but we're like a lot closer in age. And so in a lot of ways, it felt like him and I had one childhood, and they had like a completely different childhood. And I think that you see some of that with the siblings in that for Abel. Harlow is like an annoyance. Like she is the youngest. She is like baby sister, and she's just kind of like tedious for him. He has like his own thing that he's doing. But you also, I think from the very beginning, sort of notice some things about him. Like, why would he be friends with Rafe? You know what I mean? So if they haven't been able to control Rafe, and if what we know at the end, that even their bid to sort of like have an inside person with Rafe did not work, um, then what is like the only thing left theoretically? And so in my mind, I think Abel is very smart and he understands what is going on. And his parents have failed to like bring Rafe to heal. His sister has failed to like get any sort of like claws in him. And he's sort of like the last one with any sort of like peacekeeping ability there. Now, obviously, that's not necessarily one of Abel's skills for sure, but on account of the fact that he does have a magic that is considered more powerful than, I mean, you could debate, but more power, it's like the rarest blessing, um, sort of, as we find out at the end. But because
I
of
was
that,
like, definitely there. It's
yeah, and I think like he has this sort of immediacy to it, and frankly, Rafe is smart enough not to bait someone who can literally burn him alive immediately. So I think that from that perspective, I think that Abel is smart, but we're also seeing him largely through Harlow's
Her
point of view.
her point of view.
So
That's
it's
that's
very,
what we
yeah,
discussed
it's
that a
very
little
skewed.
bit. The chicken dinner one where they're all having the chicken because we were talking about him there, and but we only get Harlow's point of view and not his, and we're like, but maybe he's because he like reveals some things, and it's like, is he doing that in a way to help Harlow? But he's coming across as like an ass while he's doing it. But that's
Yeah.
just his personality.
He starts dropping a lot of
A lot
like
of lore.
lot of
Yep.
information, and then like when he starts finding out stuff, he's like the way that I read it, like the way that because he starts laughing like in like a cackling kind of way, almost like in my mind it's I mean I and you know you're the author so you can tell me if I'm wrong, but like in my mind when I read it it almost felt like of course you would freaking do that, like you know what I mean, like it's like he knows how crappy this man is,
Yep.
and it's like it's funny that it's not even surprising that he would do something like that.
And who would know best? I mean, like, I think that's the thing. Like, Abel has been here the longest. He is the oldest. He has studied them for the most time. And of everyone, has had the most experience with, like, what they will do and what they won't do. And I think that gives him sort of this unique perspective, even from, like, Kellen is very smart and understands people very well. And that is partially because of who he is and partially because of his magic. And so I think like he can kind of see some things, and that's why I kind of wanted that part at the end of the book where Kellen is talking to her about Abel. In Kellen's point of view, you get something different about him that Harlow is sort of unwilling to offer. But also, much like Kellen, Harlow's point of view is like, you didn't do anything. Like, you let all this stuff happen. You were older, like, you were supposed to help. And so
But she
I
needed
think,
that reminder. He
mhm.
was traumatized too. He
Oh,
Yeah,
says,
Kellen.
and like, do you think this is like the old, do you think you two are the only ones who have ever been down there? Like, do you really think that this was like a first time thing with like the eighth and ninth child or whatever, you know? So, yeah.
Like once you hit like the eighth kid, you're like, you know what? I think I'm abusive.
I mean, he is just, Herrick is many things, but he's not really like a self-reflector, like he's not really someone who has really done a lot of observation of himself. Like, definitely,
That man won't be in
probably,
therapy.
yeah, yeah, he's probably not like a therapy guy. Like, should he be? Yeah, but he is like the exact person that's like, he's not in therapy, but everyone else who interacts with him is, like,
Well, piggybacking.
so speaking of siblings,
yes.
why don't we see much from the other siblings? And are we kind of assuming they were escaping Horrick?
So, yes. And also because there's so many of them. Like, it's so many characters. There were
That's
already so
fair.
many characters, and I did have a little bit more of like the other siblings in there, and it was like my critique partners were like, "Girl, you gotta take them out of here.
No,
Like,
you
it's too
had to bring
many."
it.
Yeah. Um,
It was so good though. Like,
Well, I mean, she chonky as it is. I mean,
but
that
she could be
exactly.
a little bigger. We like
She could be big.
we like
We
big
wouldn't
books.
complain.
Well, and that's what like we get to see Kellen a good bit. We get to see Abel a little bit. We get to see Electra a little bit, but there are a lot more siblings. Like, there are a bunch more. So like
well, I
I
kind of
I
just had it
did.
in my head. I was like, well, maybe like because a lot of them are married off and they're gone. But at the
Mhm.
same time, like because you get this glimpse into their like they've also suffered at the hands of
They don't
this
want to come
man.
back.
Like, could it just be that they're like, we're not coming
Yeah.
back?
I mean, I think like with all of them, and you see it in Harlow at the beginning, like, oh God, a fucking family dinner, like, why, And I think like it's similar for all of them. And even when Electra is there, like late at night, when Harlow gets back and finds out that like all this stuff is going on with Abel, and Electra is there to like erase memories, basically. I think you can like read that irritation on her that she's there, like, first of all, in the middle of the night, that she's been like summoned, and she's a grown woman. Like, she's in her late 30s. Abel is, what is he, like 40 or something? So like, she's sort of like annoyed to be there. You can tell she's not particularly like warm to Harlow. But I also think when you have this huge age gap, it does feel like there's like different sectors of the siblings and stuff. So I think like, again, a lot of it is sort of framed through Harlow's point of view. That's why I think some of the stuff with having Henry observe these things is interesting, because like he's noticing stuff about her family dynamics and the way that they talk to each other, and even like the way that Abel is just sort of like fascinated by all of this. So
Like, that seems toxic.
yeah, yeah. I mean, not that he is surprised, because again, like, he doesn't exactly have a high opinion of Herrick, but it's one of like the first things that he notices when they're like getting ready to sign the marriage contract, and Herrick just like cuts her arm. He doesn't like check with her or anything. He just like cuts her arm right there, and she doesn't even react. Like, it's like she's so locked down, and he like clocks that immediately and is like, I think like the cognitive dissonance for Henry of what he thought he was getting into, and like what he noticed immediately that was like in conflict with that, but he just refused to acknowledge, is also very real. Like, he's going in with a strong bias, and he like is very unwilling to give it up.
Which I did find it funny that he was so like horrified by that, and I'd be like, well, your family like killed you a ton. Um, So,
So true. So
I mean,
true.
granted, it was for like a greater cause, but like,
Yeah, but also like super fucked up. Like it is super
yeah,
fucked up for your parents to like put all of that on you. And I think it's very interesting because in a lot of ways we see parallels between the two of them and their relationships with their parents. It's just that people are so much more forgiving of Henry's parents because it's coming from a place of like trying to protect him than they are of Harlow's parents because like it's
they
selfishly
don't care.
motivated. But they're both technically selfishly motivated. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like they just don't want to lose again and like they are placing all of their trauma like on Henry and a lot of like weight. I mean, a lot of responsibility falling on him. So, um, I knew that they would sort of relate over that in different ways. So, I I do think that that part is interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's he is noticing it, but I also think it's because like even for him, every time they've done that, it's been with his permission. And that's like such a huge thing is like consent in this like whole story is like how is he giving permission for them to do what? It's one of the things that comes up with Carter where he says, "Oh, I would never do that" or whatever, and then like later you find out that he did, because Henry asked him to. And so I think like with everything else, you see him giving permission, and I think that's part of the reason it doesn't stand it like it stands out so much to him is that he doesn't even check with her, he doesn't check on her afterward, he didn't even ask what kind of healing Henry did before he just like assumed that he would be able to fix it, which is like so fucked because like otherwise she's like just bleeding there. So yeah.
like I guess we'll get you a band-aid. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what are you gonna get stitches or whatever? And Kellen isn't there, so like there's no one else around to sort of like be like, oh, like let's get a healer or whatever, like just
Right.
crazy.
Speaking of siblings still, but we loved Adia's character and we loved her relationship with Harlow. Did you plan on her being dead from the get-go?
Yeah, it was one of
Yeah.
the first things I knew about the book was um that her group was presenting in this very like unusual but understandable way. Like once you kind of know what happened, it makes a lot more sense. But I knew that that was going to be there the whole time, and I was like, these are the two really challenging things that I gave myself were the I can only see in black and white, hiding, who Henry is, and then also hiding that Adia was gone already because I just like trying to have it seem like other people were noticing her or somehow interacting with her in a scene when they weren't. Again, because you're only getting Harlow's perception. So from her perception, she wants this to be true, and so she's ignoring a lot of the stuff that would signal to her otherwise. Like in every other scenario, she's talking about people's auras. She never once says anything about Adia's aura. She doesn't have one because it's like all in her head. And so like there's not an active thing around her that's moving the way that everyone else who is alive is. And so like there's subtle things like that. And then
Catherine's over here like, I miss so much.
it's been very funny because I've had several readers who've gone back and read and been like, how did I not notice? Like, how did I not
Well,
notice this?
we were doing so I had already finished, okay? And let me just tell you, when that bomb dropped about Adia, my mouth hit the floor. I was just shocked. To be fair, I am not known for being mega observant. Like I really read and I'm vibing and like I'm like a thriller author's like dream because I'm
She's not gonna figure it
I
out.
respect it. I respect it.
but like so we were doing the podcast and I was like, I can't say anything because they're reading along or whatever. And they start having questions about Adia and they're like, well, we're noticing, and I was sitting there like, you're kidding me that they are noticing this. Because I really thought this was going to be like a bomb. They were going to be like, oh my gosh. And they're like, I feel like there's something going on.
She's only ever in the closet. Why is she?
And,
Okay.
He's never with anybody else. Like we were just picking up on some clues.
And
like,
I'm literally
like
sitting
something's
there
not right.
like, so it is me. Like, I was, because I was, because I
No,
was
it's
like,
it's not, because I have to say, like, that is the one that I get the most, like, reader messages about, where they're like, what do you mean? Like,
I
so many
was
people. And
I
if
was
you are a close
heartbroken.
reader, usually people know that there's something going on, but they can't quite place, like, what it
We
is.
yeah, we didn't get it till the bomb dropped. What exactly? We had a
Yeah.
lot of theories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't know what we just knew something was up, but we didn't know
But
what.
I was
the
heartbroken. And
first
then the
time you
little the
see
little
her,
conversation with him at the end when she's in the apartment. Oh my gosh.
No.
Sobbing. It
Yes.
was
I mean,
That was good. That was touching. That was closure. That was closure for her and me.
when like
yeah.
ugh.
And I think like when you first meet her, it's like in the hallway. It's in the first chapter, in like the first few pages you meet her, and it's in the hallway. And you can explain away her like ducking away, because Harlow's like, oh, of course, like she's like she just disappears. This is like what she does when she's here. And you understand, like, when you know stuff about Rafe, why she needs to sneak around. So like then that makes sense why she's not super publicly out and about all the time. Um, but even in that scene where she like walks into the dining room, and she like Harlow is explaining why nobody's interacting with her, because she's saying, "Oh, like my parents like are happy to like benefit from her sacrifice, but they don't want to look at it." And so like yeah.
That
Hmm.
scene is why I never considered that she was gone. Like I like that literally was the scene. I was like, well, she was in the dining room. Everybody was there. Like I didn't even think about how the rest of the time she's in the closet. I didn't like
Well, and I also like hit a lot of it in the fact that Harlow is a recent widow. So when people are giving her condolences, she is connecting it to the fact that she's a widow, and she's like, "Oh yes, yes, I'm very sad," like blah blah blah. But people
Catherine's
are
face.
giving her condolences because of her sister. And and so like
No, I did not see that.
I did not.
there
I didn't pick, I'll be honest, I didn't pick that up either. And that's genius. It's freaking genius.
it's there are so many things. So I've like learned a lot about like misdirection in a scene, and how you can like I learned I my first series, the Lost God series, is multi POV, and with that I learned a lot about how to hide things in a multi POV story without having an unreliable narrator, because every character has a certain bias and a way that they like perceive things. And um, so if you have a character who starts off like hating another character, then like the entire time you're sort of like playing down like their hatred, because you're like, well, I mean, they decided not to like that person immediately, so they're not really a reliable narrator when it comes to that person. And you sort of like it sort of like creates this thing where you play off at anything, any suspicion. It's just like, ugh, this guy. He's like really got a bone to pick. Like he flirted with his girlfriend, and now look out. Like he's just not gonna like him ever. So you can kind of like explain things away like that. And so a lot of what I thought about is like how to use the character's biases to like focus you on a very specific thing, while still dropping in a bunch of other information that seems less important because of what they're focused on. So, so yeah, and that scene at the end that you were talking about with the mirror and the apartment, is this is like why we have critique partners and beta readers. When I was on like my final like developmental draft, which is usually I do a round with my critique partners where I do like a more significant developmental edit to like plot points, a magic system, or character things. And fortunately for this book, because it is so long, I really did not have a lot of stuff at that stage. Thank God. Thank God. Because I really would have lost my mind after like 3 years writing it. I was like, I really am not sure that I'm going to be able to hold all of these different pieces if there's something I have to change in a major way. Because the timeline and like all of these pieces are like so interconnected with each other. So I was nervous about that part. But it worked out. And when I sent it to beta readers, one of my beta readers is Whit Stanfield, who wrote, she has a series called the um, Jewels of Naiads. I always like mess the name of the series up. But it's mermaids for anybody who played mermaids as a kid. Um, and she gave me this really good feedback that it felt like Henry had gotten his closure, but Harlow hadn't because I didn't have that chapter in there initially, and that like she saw Harlow like move through her like anger, but not really find like any real sense of peace with Adia. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Also, like, fuck you. Fuck you for giving me something else to write. I'm done. Thank you for giving me what I asked for, and also how rude. But she was totally right, and like writing that scene was so good. And there are so many people who message me and are like, "Oh my God, this scene was so hard." And I'm like, "I know, sorry. You can blame Wit. It's her fault. Take it up with her. Her DMs are open."
Her DMs are. So what happens to Steppen? So like he mirrors Rafe in a lot of ways, but is he as evil?
Such a good question. Such a good question. I wonder.
Okay.
It's in book two.
I will say I would love to see what, like, after everything that went down. I mean, like, I wonder what that like big them heading back to the fort, what that would look like. Because when they left, there was a plan.
Mm-hmm.
That
plan changed.
moved around a little.
The plan did change quite a bit. So I definitely think that probably some people will be surprised, though I would argue probably not Henry's parents, because I think Henry's mom clocked that pretty early on.
Yeah.
And I think that she kind of knew what was up, and was not necessarily expecting things to go exactly as planned. Um, so, yeah, I definitely have some thoughts about sort of some of the open threads that were not like super critical to the main plot. Um, and that might be one of them. So
we can just scurry right on. That's fine. Like, respect it.
lighting is crazy.
Was my turn?
You caught me like right at the time of day when the sun is like coming right in this window. So
It's
I'm
actually
That's okay.
beautiful though.
It does. Your lighting's fantastic.
Yeah.
Catherine's
you.
house is possessed, so half the time the lights just dim.
Yeah.
It's not possessed. Don't let them.
Fun.
Don't let them tell you that. It's not. I will say I have two young boys, and when the light comes in just right, I hate it because it shows all of the dirt that maybe I missed.
Oh yeah, that's
I
so
mean, like,
true.
just don't focus on this. Like,
Don't look at it. It's fine.
don't look at that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. There is a lot of emotional depth to your characters. Do you have a particular scene that was hard to write?
Oof, yeah. Gosh. I think that one of the scenes that was hard to get the right like tone for was when they're in the well at Mountain Haven, because Harlow is very fixed in how she perceives him, and he is giving her a lot of stuff that is in conflict with that fixed perception that she has, and having her be the right level of suspicious of him, but also kind of taken aback, because I think as I learned this time, when you're writing enemies to lovers, this is my first enemies to lovers, and my last question mark. No, I'm kidding. It's very fun to it's very fun to write, but very difficult to do well. And so I think like when when things kind of when things kind of started for her, she is very unwilling to give him any grace at all. And you have to really take these characters who have a very strong opinion about each other and bring them into like some sort of common ground, which almost always happens through some kind of forced proximity, and doesn't get much more forced proximity than this. But I was like, well, also they're naked, and also she just kind of like admitted this thing to him about herself that she thinks will lower her value to him, which in this particular moment she's not trying to do. Like before she made the deal with her parents, maybe she would have tried that route, but now that she knows that he's sort of like her way to get Adia back, so to speak. Um, I think she has this very specific idea of how that's going to happen. And when he starts becoming relatable, that is like very untenable for her. Is like she does not want to have anything in common with him. She does not want to feel any pity for him. And so like hearing about like what happened when the wall fell, because it was very shocking for her when they like rode up initially and she saw what it looked like and was like, whoa. Like when she was thinking like it got overrun, she wasn't thinking that the wall fell, because like the whole thing is that the forest is like impenetrable. And so that whole perception is it was such a hard scene to get right, and that I felt like I was really like nitpicking a lot of things. And then kind of the obvious one is the scene in the garden where, going into it, Henry is really angry because he thinks that she took this thing that is such like a sensitive, like sore spot for him, with his sister's death, and like has used her experience to like manipulate him and into like giving him someone that like can be saved. And he thinks this is like something that she very directly did. And I mean, I do love to write a scene where a man is humbled because he really is angry and then immediately realizes how bad he fucked up. And I think that that piece is so like interesting in that way, but also it was so difficult to like get the tone of it right so that he didn't just seem like a dick like the whole time.
It
So,
was so
yeah.
nuanced and so well done. Like you could tell the minute that he was like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I feel like his anger clouded a lot of the clues that he normally would pick up about,
Hmm.
her actions, her feelings, her things. I feel like he missed it because of his anger. So when it finally clicked, it was too late.
You know that how like what was it? He said like his face like immediately it went from like shock to horror, like all the like it was like you see him like oh.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like he has not seen her be scared of just about anything. And
Yeah.
so, like, that in itself should have really registered the fact that she was starting to like panic a little bit as they're walking down this trail. And there's nothing wrong. Like, and I think, like, because he's angry, he's reading it as she's afraid, like, she's afraid he's going to find her out. But, like, at that point, why would she care? Like, you know what I mean? It's already kind of like what's done, it's done. So, and if he was really picking up on it, because like they've already been through all this stuff, she already knows what he is. She's not afraid of him. And so why would she suddenly be so afraid? Because
Yeah.
she's not going to be afraid of his reaction. If anything, she'd probably like it, frankly. So, no judgment. We don't kink shame. But we do kink worry and kink wonder. But yeah, I think like that scene was really difficult because it's a big swing for his emotions, and it is like the first time that she is like really vulnerable, and she has resisted so much. And even the few moments that she's had, she like manages to like claw her control back, and she is still like herself. But this is like very very unmasking, that kind of grief. So,
So I'm going to jump ahead on a couple questions because I want to be sure that we chat a little bit, because you actually have a really extensive backlist,
yeah.
that a lot of people probably, like, we just discovered you through The Poison Daughter, as I'm sure many others have. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the other books you've written, and maybe if someone's coming off The Poison Daughter, what might be the next best book to start
Yeah.
with?
Yeah, so I do actually, if you have Instagram, I have a pinned post on my Instagram that actually says you finished The Poison Daughter, now what? And you can basically go on there and see there's like a little mini quiz in if you swipe through in that post of where you might like to go in my backlist next. So yeah, and you're right. A lot of people think this is my first book, and I'm like, no, no, I've been doing this for like 3 years now. I've been publishing for 3 years. I've been writing for even longer, But yeah, I have a an epic romantasy series called the Lost God series, and that's complete and it's available in all formats. So if you're an audio person, it's on audio, and the narrators are phenomenal. They're so good. Um, and that is sort of like, how would I describe that? If you could have an FMC that was the exact polar opposite of Harlow. FMCs are a spectrum, and these two are the exact opposite ends of the spectrum. Cece is very sweet. She is like a soft girl. And she's sort of like my answer to, I think at the time when I was writing it, there were a lot of like very badass FMCs where it's like, they're so like unaffected and they're so cool and so pretty and like all of these things. And Cece is just very soft and very affected by everything and very neurodivergent, which hilariously, I was undiagnosed at the time. And so many readers messaged me and were like, I love the way you wrote her neurodivergence. And I was like, yeah, totally. And then I got diagnosed and I was like, well, now it all
That
makes
explains
sense.
it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, because a lot of people are like, oh, she's very like emotional and she like, why does she cry so much? And I was like, look, your girl is overstimulated and she does not have Adderall in this world. So here we are. Um,
Here we
no,
are.
it's very much like epic fantasy, but if you like the mental health rep in The Poison Daughter, that's where I would send you. There's very strong mental health themes through the entire book. What a lot of my readers say about that series is that you think when you start reading it that it is sort of your typical, not to be like she's not like other girls, but like she's not. You think it's going to be sort of your typical, oh, this is an epic fantasy and it's going to kind of follow this format, but it it takes a turn and things get interesting. And Cece is a lot younger. She's 23 in the first book. And so a lot of that story is really her kind of coming into herself, where Harlow is kind of a more already self-actualized character. So it's a different kind of journey, but it's also, again, a multi-POV story. So you also get to hear from the love interests, and another character is in there as well. Um, and you
Over here
have
like
kind of your you have kind of your standard escalation to a battle and like, the good guys winning, so to speak. But then like what comes after that? Because I think one thing that I found as a reader for a long time is that I felt like kind of unsatisfied when I would finish like a big epic series, because there would be the big battle and then it's like, oh, is everything just fine? Because I've read history and I know what happens when you create a power vacuum. So it feels like it wouldn't be so easily resolved. So the second half of that series is sort of like what comes after, and like how do you like, we know how you survive, but how do you learn to like live again? And so I think that's like a big part of that series. Very emotional, very angsty. Um,
We love them.
and yeah, if you like angsty books, it's very good and yearning.
We love yearning.
We love
Yeah. And
You're like, you are speaking my
I
language.
should like talk about the actual magic system. She is a memory witch. So it starts with Cecilia's a memory witch, and she is setting out on this quest to visit the series of 77 caves called the Gauntlet. And in each cave is sort of like a page in a grimoire in the language of memory. And so once she completes it, it's supposed to release this ancient magic that will help their kingdom defeat the god of war. And she is very motivated to do that because her father is the leader of the kingdom's army, and she does not want him facing off against the god of war for obvious reasons, and also because he's older.
It's like
So yeah,
Mulan.
it
I'm
is
like,
like
I'm over here
Mulan.
watching Catherine just become more and more invested. She's like,
It
and
is
we're gonna.
actually very like Mulan vibes. So so yeah, and then chaos ensues. That is why it's 4 books, but it is complete. And again, it's on audio. If you have Libby, one big thing that I do every year is I do a library drive with my street team and my readers and ask them to request it at their library. So you can check and see if it's on Libby at your library. And yeah, and also they're on Spotify and everything too if you have subscription. So, and then there is a standalone spinoff in that same world. So if you're familiar with LJ Andrews and her Everseas series, where it's like a next generation story. A Legacy of Stars is a next generation standalone in the Lost God world. So it takes place about 20 years after the Lost God ends. And I would say if you really like the banter between Harlow and Henry, you will probably really like Teddy and Stella. And it is a standalone, it can be read on its own. You will understand you'll understand everything about the world. It will spoil some things about like the original story just because again it's a second generation story, so you'll have answers to some things. And I tell people the greatest emotional impact is probably reading the series first and then that. So if you're like somebody who loves to be emotionally devastated, no judgment, again, we don't kink shame, then I would say read the series and then read A Legacy of Stars, and it will really like there's a good like gut punch in there. But they are rivals, they are opposites, and their families have known each other, like they've known each other since they were really young, and their families are best friends. And so they've seen each other at every holiday and whatever, and they are like exact personality opposites, and they just grate on each other. Both very hyper responsible oldest children, and they are both in love with other people, and for different reasons cannot be with them. And so they decide to go to the temple of the goddess of love to try to get a blessing for them to be together. Because if she sees that they're essentially like soulmates, then she will like give them this blessing, and they can kind of like use that to supersede responsibilities in their lives. But
I am obsessed already.
I know. I'm like, does she do
but
it?
instead
You're like talking, and I'm like,
they accidentally end up bonded to each other. And the only way to break that bond is to enter this tournament called the Gauntlet Games, where they have
Games and
three
trials.
three trials to try to win a favor from the gods to break this bond. The problem is that they feel everything that the other feels, and they're in this tournament where they can get injured and all kinds of other stuff is happening. So it's very fun. If you
this is the
if you
Lost
are
God series?
that's a Legacy of Stars, which is a spin-off in the Lost God world. Yeah.
Legacy, got it. I'm with you.
Yeah. And so, and that is, I always say, like, that book is for like the oldest children. It's literally dedicated to oldest children. I'm an oldest. But there's definitely like strong sibling relationships in that book as well. So if you love that, and they're funny. I mean, like just it was very fun to write the sibling relationships in that. So, and then Song of the Darkwood, which is a standalone, the first in a series of interconnected standalones, and that is like a gothic romantasy. It's sort of like a Dark Red Riding Hood meets Hades and Persephone. She has a spirit enchanting voice, and she is tasked with ferrying souls of the departed from the realm of the living across the possibly sentient Darkwood to the god of death and keeping him happy. Um, it is Again, it is a standalone. It's the first in a series of interconnected. Right now, I'm working on the second book in the series, which is called Ballad of the Heartless. And it is sort of like a dark Snow White meets the myth of Cassandra.
Ooh.
So, yeah, it's very fun. I'm having a great time.
Well, I'm just getting ready to enter into my whole Sheila Masterson journey.
I know.
Yeah. And all of those books, the whole backlist is on audio as well. So for anybody who is like a big time audio reader, all of the narrators are fabulous, and they're very fun. So, yeah, I'm a big audio reader. That's why I'm like always like
She's
feel like
a
I'm always
huge-
like throwing the audio
I
at
like
everyone.
audio too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all on KU as well. So if you're a KU reader, so yeah.
I don't even know where to, like, this is amazing. All right. Well, okay, you skipped a few, so am I also okay to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have, hold on, wait, well, actually, you know what, I'm gonna go to this one because I think this would be fun. So if The Poison Daughter were to become a movie, who would you cast as Harlow and Henry?
Oh my
And honestly,
gosh,
Herrick. I kind of want to know that too.
this is so tough. I feel like I have such a hard time. I always have such a hard time placing my characters. I mean, when I think of Henry, of course I think of Henry Cavill because one of my friends said
Yeah.
she was like, Henry is not like a sexy name, and I was like,
But
girl,
You're like, excuse
You're
me.
joking, right?
But wait.
Let me send you approximately 400 pictures that just are saved on my phone for research purposes, that might prove otherwise. So I think I have to say him. And, like, I think the hard part for me is always like knowing somebody that's like in this age range.
Hmm.
I could definitely see like Anna de Armas as Harlow. I feel like she in her more, not in her like, what is the mystery one? She's so like sweet in some of her movies, and I'm like not like that, but like in when she's in that James Bond movie, I can't remember which one it is, where she's just like super badass. I was like that one where she's like in this crazy dress and she's just like beating the crap out of all of these dudes. I'm like, yeah, that vibe for sure. So
Okay, love that. And what do you think about Herrick? What do you think?
Herrick is such a good question because I feel like maybe oh gosh, I can't remember his name. Like having such a brain fart. Hold on. Um, can't Liev Schreiber. I feel like he would be so good.
Yes.
I think he would just do, I think he has like the right vibe because he needs to be like a little scary, but
Yes.
also
Yeah.
like you can understand why people would follow him. And I feel like he has that kind of like gravitas, you know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Do you want to keep going from here down?
Okay. Well, how are we on time? I don't want to like,
Well, I'm good. I'm
'cause we
good.
could be here for a while.
That's fine. I'm fine with that as long as you guys are.
So
Yeah.
I figure if we go from here, then we can cover these, and then if we end up with some time, we can circle back. But I think
Okay, so I have a tough question that if I were asked this, I would have no answer. But what is your favorite read of all time?
My God. That
Exactly.
is so hard.
you
Exactly.
can do a top 5 if you want.
And you can, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because then I'm like, well, you have to narrow it down by genre.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, I
Are
would
you
never
typically
say.
are you like a pretty diehard romance reader, or what do you?
Yeah, I just about everything I read has some kind of romance in it, even if it's just a subplot. Um, but I think like if I think about my favorites, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chakshi is one of my favorites, and I don't even know what I would call that book because it's so weird. Like, it's a little bit horror, but like a little bit romance, but also a little bit mystery. And then there's parts where you're like, is this really happening? Is this a fantasy? Like, is this speculative? Is this house sentient? What's going on? Or is this guy just like in like a love like haze that he just can't like see anything clearly, which is kind of part of the point. Um, so that's definitely one of my favorites. One of my favorite romances is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, which is just,
Okay.
it's so good. It's a second chance romance with two authors. It has the actual funniest opening of any book I've ever read. It is so, so funny. Do not read it in a public place. Like you will be bright red. It's very funny though. Um, but the book is so it really sneaks up on you. The FMC is a single mom and she also deals with chronic pain. She gets migraines and it is a second chance romance, like I said, which is one of my favorites. And she is an author of this series that is essentially like a like 14 book paranormal romance series with this very sexy vampire. And I'm not spoiling anything. This is just like the setup. She gets asked at the last minute to go to this like be on this panel, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't really do this, and like I'm kind of tired of like talking about this book or whatever." And everybody's always like poking fun at me because I write paranormal romance, and these are like serious authors, quote unquote. And so she goes and she gets on this panel, and somebody else had subbed in at the last minute too, and here it's this guy that she had this really intense relationship with when she was younger, like a teenager, and he's there and he is this brilliant literary author, and so they've like fallen out of touch, but she's kept up with his career, And one of the other panelists says something sort of like snide about her books, and then he speaks up. He like doesn't do public appearances, and he like speaks up, and he
Of
says like
course he
all of
doesn't.
this stuff about how like intelligent the book is, and like, and she is just sitting there like horrified that he's read her book. Like she's like going through like 7 stages of grief in like a moment, and also just like sort of like turned on because she's like, excuse me. And it's just like this moment where
The
you're
tracks.
like as somebody who like reads romance, like reading that scene, I was like, this is so good. And it's like happening in public in front of all these other people, and everybody's like, what is this vibe? Like, what is going on here?
Like,
So
are
I
we
just,
in the book? Like, what?
yeah. And I love their relationship so much, but there's also kind of this subplot of like generational trauma that is so interesting, and it's just so good. It's like it's this is when I'm like, people are like act like romance is such like an unserious genre, and I'm like, this book is excellent. It is so well done. And it covers so many different things. So that's definitely one of my favorites. Oh God, I know I'm like forgetting so many things. Oh, The Everlasting by Alex Harrow, and The Six Deaths of the Saint, which is like the short story of that book, basically. I love them both so much. It's so good. Alex Harrow is such a good writer. It's such an interesting concept. And then Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas, which is a second chance horror romance. It's the best way I can describe
Ooh,
it. There's vampires, but it's just
I've never
like,
heard of that.
I don't know how she did it. It's literally perfectly structured, and it moves so fast, and it's so satisfying. I loved it.
You said a horror man's? I want to read that. That sounds.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
I've got like a whole TBR because of her now. I'm like,
Yeah.
well,
I'm
I'm gonna
telling
be reading
you,
that one.
I am I'm also like so specific too. So if you're like, oh, I want to read something that's like this or like that, like I've read a lot of books, and my book club, like that, like my real life book club, when they when they get together, like we did a romance last year, and I'm like, you guys, they've learned their lesson now. I think they'll never ask me for recommendations again, because they were like, oh, like what if we like wanted to read some more romance? I was like, I volunteer, tribute. And so I made like an entire like super long email to send them, and I was like, well, if you like this, if you like dark romance, if you like mafia stuff, if you like rom-coms, if like I basically went through and like just like had this whole like comprehensive list, and I was like, wow, this is really long. What a normal thing to
I
do.
mean, but side note, if you want to send us that list,
Yeah, you could
I know, I
you
have
just
to find
copy
it.
paste
Yeah.
that to us.
just copy, yeah, just forward.
Yeah, it's
I was
because I
over here
never fully
like, we
updated them.
love comprehensive lists.
Yeah, well, I'm always like, oh, like I am very much a mood reader. So, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, if you want something that's like this, or if you just finished this book and you want something that's like it, like this one, I love that because I'm like, let me read 17 books that are exactly like this in a row because I'm in this mode right now.
I am the
I see
exact
that.
same. I am the exact same. And there are times where someone will recommend a book, but it's not in my current mood, and I'm like,
Yes.
I will read that, but
Just
not
not
right.
right now.
Yeah, that's why it goes on the shelf because I'm like, ooh, that's like a really good concept, but it's not good for where my brain is right now.
Right,
Yeah.
because if you start to read it, then you run the risk of like not liking it, even though like October you might really like it.
Exactly. See, you get it. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
So you were an indie author and you've now
Hmm.
been picked up trad. Can you tell us a little bit of like what that road from indie to trad was like and a little bit about
Yeah.
the upcoming re-release of The Poison Daughter?
Yeah, so I originally started querying Song of the Darkwood at the same time that I was prepping to release the Lost God series. Because I was like, well, querying takes so long, like I'm just gonna do this in the meantime. And I knew that because, like I said, the Lost God is not like other girls in terms of books, I knew it was gonna be a tough sell to like try to get an agent or something with that book, just because it is a little different, and it's not as you can't talk about it in as succinct of a way as I can of like Song of the Darkwood or The Poisoned Daughter, which are both super high concept, and I can just kind of say one sentence and you know what the book's about. It's a little more involved than that. So I was like, I think I'm just gonna self-publish this. I also like those books are so personal to me because they're like what I wrote during COVID and like when I was like stuck at home and everything. So I was also like, I think I would have a very hard time taking editorial feedback because I'm so happy with the books how they are right now. So that was kind of like my initial choice. And I had started querying and I learned a ton. Like I learned a ton about querying. I learned a ton about like the business in general. And ultimately decided that one, the worst time to query is when you're trying to feel confident enough about your writing to put out your first book. Hearing no 50 times in a row will affect you. Even if you have a lot of confidence, it will still like get in your head a little. So I don't recommend that, just for the record. However, uh, I did kind of realize that I I liked the amount of creative control that I had with like doing things on my own, and I'm very fortunate to have amazing critique partners who have complementary skills to me, which I think is a very difficult thing to find. So my process is already very like robust in terms of editing, and I kind of couldn't imagine changing that. And I wanted to like the realities of the industry are that it has changed a lot in the last couple of years. I would say not for the better, personally. Um, and I knew that I would only consider doing like going the traditional route after everything if I was coming in from a place of power, because I think if you come in, and this is not to like knock anything that anyone is doing for the record, I just kind of know, I think you have to know yourself is like that's the number one thing I would tell any author who is new. Like you need to understand yourself really well and be very self-aware to know like which process is right for you. And I knew that I would never be able to like go in um as like a brand new beginner, and because there's sort of this attitude that like you should just be so grateful for everything that they do. I'm a project manager, so I'm so like obsessed with efficiency and it's just not an efficient business at all. And it like I was like, I know I'm gonna have a hard time with this. So I knew that I wanted to come in from a place where they would be invested enough to actually like try to market the book and really like push it out there and not just kind of be like, well, the book is out.
Have fun
Bye.
with that.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Like good luck.
Yeah.
Which is is fine. And frankly, like dealing with print on demand distribution issues and all of that, it is it is nice to have someone else managing that. Like that's just the truth. But I knew that I really wanted to come in from a place of power so that I didn't feel like I had to be like so grateful all the time. Not that I'm not grateful. It's just there's this attitude where you can very much find yourself if you're not confident, if you're not like if you don't have people around you like pumping you up, where you can start to feel you like you owe them something like for being there when like really it's just a trade-off. Like it's just business. You're getting paid because you created something that they think has value, that they think that they can make probably like 5 times as much money off of. So like I think that sometimes they can capitalize off the fact that it's a very emotional thing for creatives, and I didn't want to find myself in that place because I'm already sort of a people pleaser. So I was like, no, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go in from a place of feeling like I can make like call a lot of my own shots, which is a hard thing to do. And I was like, if that means it never happens, and then it never happens. And that's why like I've sold audio rights for my backlist and everything. Like I've kind of done these smaller deals. But with this one, I knew that it was doing well enough. And when I kind of came back after the Christmas break, things got very crazy very fast. And so I'm super happy with how everything has gone, and my publisher is great. And still it's like it's a big adjustment. Like it's a big adjustment to um like be deciding things by committee when I'm used to like having the full like autonomy to decide things for myself. So like there's nothing like objective like there's nothing objectively bad about it. It's just so different, and it really slows things down for the pace of an indie author, because I have since I started publishing I pre-wrote a lot of stuff. So I had everything kind of like written and pretty close to ready to go by the time The Lost God came out. And so I was like very ahead. So a lot of people like think I like wrote them and edited them and published them like all in the same year. And I was like, no, no, like they were written way before that. So, so yeah, so I think like from that perspective, I've put out 2 or 3 books a year since I started publishing. So over the last 3 years, and this is the first year where, I'll have one new book come out and then I'll have this re-release in August. Um, so my publisher is Slow Burn, which is an imprint of Zando, and they do romance, all things romance, really. And I'm very excited because, I mean, for a lot of reasons, it's really difficult to get your books in bookstores as an indie author because they are more expensive. It's harder for indie bookstores that already have really small profit margins to stock them, which is completely understandable. It's just like it's one of like the downsides of being indie. But I'm really excited for it to be so much more available for readers. And it's going to be so beautiful because it has sprayed edges, it has a really beautiful case cover, and it will have a bonus chapter for everyone who is new. There's an exclusive bonus chapter in there. So I'm very much looking forward to that as
They're
well.
heading back to the fort.
So
Sorry, didn't
I'm very excited, and then it will also be coming out in audio at the same time, duet audio, which I know everybody is like so excited about. So that'll be coming August 18th, 2026, and very excited for like everything around that. Like we have some very fun things planned in terms of pre-order incentives and everything. So I'm very excited to see when things like start to come out. So keep an eye out over the next couple of weeks because there will probably be some interesting information around art and some other stuff. So really looking forward to that.
Me too. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you. That's so cool. What a cool
That's
story.
exciting.
I know that has to just be so fun to put in all this work and then have this like really cool payoff. So
You were and
Yeah.
you were like ridiculously smart about it.
Well, thank you. The other thing that's really exciting is that it's going to be, I think right now we're at 20 different territories and like 19 translations, which is insane. Like I've never, like well beyond my wildest expectations, but also really exciting because there are all these new readers that I'm going to be able to reach that I couldn't before, and distribution abroad is really hard. Again, as an indie, it's not impossible, but it's extremely unreliable and it's super frustrating because I like something like 17% of my readership is in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. And so like it's like a huge part of my readership, but like they can't always reliably buy like my physical books because of the way print on demand works, which is frustrating but true. So I'm very excited that like I have a UK publisher who's going to be doing all of that, and they're going to have their own fancy version, which I'm very excited for. And there are definitely some special editions coming over the next couple of months. I'm excited for all these international editions, which are going to be very cool. So I think like all of that has been so like far beyond my expectations. I have such a phenomenal foreign rights team who has managed all of that because I think they really thought we were going to be sort of doing like a little bit at a time. They got a tsunami in there. I mean, they were really busy. And it felt like for a while, like every day they were like coming back to me with something and saying like, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? So I really got a crash course also. I think like a lot of this was a crash course. So, and I have a great agent. Like I just have such a good team around me. And that has helped a lot because even if you know a lot, it is a lot of having to like know your values enough to know what deal is the right deal and when to pass on something. And like sometimes someone is offering you like the most money that someone has ever offered you at once, and your agent is like, this is why we shouldn't take it. And you're like, are you sure? Like I am a millennial. Like that feels crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were right every single time, and that's why you have an agent, is
Yeah.
they understand the market really well. They understand the place of the book, and it's like their job to know all of that and to know how to negotiate effectively. And I think like I was very, very fortunate. But I'm so excited for that. And it was this is why I tell people, like, you just don't know what's going to happen, because September of 2025 was like my worst royalty performance month in like since I had started publishing, and I had 6 books out, and I was like, this is bleak. Like, how am I this many years in and this many books in and still like struggling so hard? And then in October, The Poison Daughter came out and it had a good launch, and then it just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. And like by the time like the holidays hit, it just was like off to the races. It was the craziest thing. So you just don't, it's like whiplash from like 6 months in one direction, and just things got really crazy. So you never know what's going to happen. And I think some of the best advice that I got early on is like that you just have to be more stubborn than like the doubts that come up, just more stubborn than the draft that you're working on, more stubborn than like the bad day that you had. Because I think the difference between the people who, you know, quote unquote make it and the people who don't is when they give up. Like, it's just not giving up too soon. So I think that's really the biggest thing. And a lot of that is like surrounding yourself with people who can like pump you up when you're having a bad day. It's, you know, stepping away if you need a break. I wouldn't know anything about that, but other people have told me. So, so yeah.
That's hilarious. Well, that's amazing. I have a couple of like, you know, like, or this is like a dual question, and it's just like fun and fluffy. First, Team Edward or Team Jacob, and second would be Stefan or Damon.
Oh my gosh, this is such a good question.
I love that you think that.
Yeah. I mean, this is like really like the hard hitting stuff. Definitely Team Edward, although like I think like we have to like refer to like me when I was reading it versus me now, because like that level of possessiveness now, I would be like, sir, do not watch me sleep, please. That's so creepy. Like, please. And also, you know, the whole like imprinting on a baby thing, just like not my thing. Again, don't kink shame, but maybe not.
Oh, I mean, I feel like that one's fair, but
That's
You can shame that one. No. And then Vampire Diaries. I know this is going to be like a controversial take, just prefacing that, but I think I'm Team Stefan. I'm not going to lie. And if you like the love triangle in the Vampire Diaries, there is a love triangle in the Lost God series. I'm just saying. Yeah.
okay. We had a whole conversation one time about Stefan versus Damon, and I was over here like, Damon, obviously. And then this one was over here like, well, think about it.
for the character. Not for me. For me, I'm Team Damon. But for the character.
Yes.
Please, Elena
Yes.
is Stefan.
Like for
Like for her,
Elena.
For Elena. Yeah, she needed.
But you know who
that.
needed Stefan more than Elena? Caroline. So
So fair.
Well, I
so
need Damon
fair.
more than she needs Damon. So how about that?
No, there's not really any arguing with that logic. That way.
I'm like, poor Caroline.
Warren Caroline.
Poor Caroline.
That's right.
Yeah. So
It's a tough one. But yeah, I'm a team Jacob girly, but
Okay,
I
Loves
always
her.
pull for the
She loves her
underdog.
something with 4 legs.
I like a vampire. I like a vampire. I like the danger.
yeah, I do have to say that like there are a lot of things in like, again, with age comes wisdom, and there's a lot of things where I'm like, I mean, he's very cold, and I just don't know about that from like a logistical
All
perspective.
natured, and they described him as like marble, and I was like,
But that's why you become a vampire too, right?
Well, yeah, but also like, do I want to live in this world like forever? Like, that is not very appealing to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Especially with their Volturi. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I always have like my hands are always cold and like my feet are always cold. So like I'm gonna like get in bed and put my like cold feet on my colder husband. Like, no, that's not gonna work. It'll never work, you know?
You get
This
to
is
lose
why
that.
we can never be together. It's because my hands are always cold.
You're like, I need Jacob's warm body.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes. But I did respect her for writing that scene in there, and I'm like, ooh, he can't give her what she needs. He needs Jacob to do it.
I
Like diabolical. As an author, you just have to respect it. You're like, yes, obviously for romance reasons, he needs to keep her warm.
It wasn't until this podcast that I apparently, because we were doing like little hear me outs, and like all of mine were like animals, and like it was like
No,
what's
that's
his
fair.
name from Zootopia, and
Yeah. No, I
and
see
Nick,
it though. I
and
see
then
it.
like
Everybody's like the animated Robin Hood.
yes.
Yeah, but like
Yes,
he is sexy
absolutely.
though.
It,
Like
it was
you,
just so funny because
you don't
whenever
need
it
to say hear
circled
me
back
out.
to
Like, we
me,
get
they
it.
were like, "Why are all yours animals?" I was like, "I don't know." And so I'm like, maybe that's why I was Team Jacob. Like,
I mean, maybe that's it.
you're over here like, I don't know what to do with that.
No, I mean, totally. Maybe that's part of it. Again, we don't kink shame.
Does have like a very big
got a
beard.
beard.
So, like,
There you go. There you go.
maybe there's
I
a
do love a hear me out though. Like they always get me. I'm like, I'm definitely here for this. Fated Mates podcast did like an entire, I think it was like their New Year's episode the one year, and it was just like hear me outs, and I was like, I was laughing so hard. I was like, these are so
what would
unhinged.
you say is one of your biggest hear me outs?
Ooh, oh my gosh. Now I can't think of any. It's like my brain went blank immediately. I have one, my friend my friend Janessa Wren, she has a series called the Five Realms series, and the villain is vile, okay? But the first thing that she did was put out hot art of him. And I was like, well,
That's unfortunate.
get out. I was like, if evil, why hot? Like, why daddy? Like, why did you make him look like that? Because, like, frankly, if he was obsessed with me, I don't know that I would be upset.
We're like, oh no.
I mean, he's horrible. Like, I cannot stress this enough. He is the worst. That's why it is very much like a hear me out. And she's always like, no. And all of her readers are like, no. And every time she posts something about him, I'm always in the comments like, my Dolo. And she's like, please, you are the only person that has a nickname for this character. Everyone hates him. And I'm like, he's just misunderstood.
He's just misunderstood.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
I can fix him. No, I think like I turned 40 and now
That's it,
now I'm
right?
like
I can fix
now
it.
I'm through my I can fix him era, and I'm like, no, he can fix himself. I'm good. I'm retired. I'm gonna go be feral. I can't fix him, but I can ruin his life.
There you go.
Yeah.
I asked mine. Do you guys want to ask any more? Or
Can we be ARC readers for your next book?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We would love
I
that.
would probably be
that.
looking, I'm trying to think like when, probably in a couple of months. We're shooting for October, so it'll probably be we'll probably have signups before the Poison Daughter re-release, but yeah, I would love to have you actually. Yeah, that'd be great.
So fun.
Let me write it down for myself though.
that was her
That
question.
was my question.
That was her question.
I
love
was
it.
like immediately. Can we?
She wrote it and put like a little smiley face next to it.
She did. She was very like,
Oh no, I love it, and I'm always looking for ARC readers. The more the merrier. I've very much like found that in my career, and I do have a Discord server right now. It's just my street team, but whenever we're in ARC season, I always open it up to to the public. No, I opened it up to the ARC team as well, so they're always invited in, and then chaos ensues. And I think one of my street team members said, it takes like normally we're a little more subdued for like a week before we figure out how weird we can be with the new people, because they are very creative. If you've seen any of their posts, I do have, if you scroll back through my Instagram, I do have an art gallery post that was part of our like lead up to this release, is that they all had the opportunity to make stick figure art of their favorite scene. And so I turned it into like an art gallery post on Instagram. So they're all in there as like works of art.
I
And
love
they
that.
are
I'm like
great,
I
not
know,
really like
immediately going to Instagram.
fantastic artists,
that
okay?
is
They are our team.
amazing.
I think we're gonna do something similar for the re-release because it was so funny. Like I was like, this is genuinely one of the funniest things because it's not really spoilery because nobody is good enough at art that you know definitively what's going on. And also like it often doesn't make any sense out of context, but if you have the context, it's hilarious. And if you don't have the context, people are like, wait, what's going on here? Like, what is this scene? Like there's one of the ritual, which is amazing, phenomenal.
I I'm excited. I'm gonna be scrolling back through that because I started to
Yeah.
scroll and I was like, oh, she meant like a long ways back. So I gotta do that when I'm not like
Yeah.
sitting here.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm gonna find it.
But it's a ways.
But yeah, that. Thank you for that. We would love
Yeah.
to because you're fantastic. So
Thank you.
Thank you
And I
so
think-
much for coming on. This has been this is probably one of my favorite episodes we've ever done.
this probably is my favorite episode actually. Like,
Hands down.
oh
Hands
my
down.
gosh, we're so grateful. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh,
We're
thank
gonna
you
let
for having me.
We're gonna let you have your dinner that we kept you from.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fine. I eat late anyway. It's fine. Yeah.
But for our regular listeners, next month, you guys voted. We are doing Blood Over Brighthaven.
It's one of my favorites. So good.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, highly recommend it. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
So, do we know what chapters we're reading?
No, we'll figure that out later, and I'll post an episode guide.
Cool.
Amazing.
I was over here like,
Because we're so
I don't know what I'm
organized.
reading.
So do we just start?
Just start. I'll let you know.
Oh, Sheila. One thing that what are you currently reading?
Yeah, I'm reading Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena, which is fantastic. And it's another book by a disabled author who has a disabled FMC, and she is a dancer, and she is sort of being manipulated by someone who betrayed her to infiltrate this other court. And as a performer, she was a fantastic dancer. She has since, for reasons, sort of like lost a lot of her mobility and deals with like these dizzy spells. And it is so good. I'm having the best time. It's phenomenal. And I think for anyone who is chronically ill and has dealt with that thing where like your body can't do the thing that you like that it used to be able to do, and she has to find these ways to sort of like work with what she has now. And Britt, the way that she has written it is so good, and there is this tension with this very charming character who is like maybe a king and maybe like she is like very much not supposed to be having tension with him. But here we are. And so I'm having the best time. It's so good. The way that the world works is like so fascinating, and I love like there's like very interesting politics and very interesting magic, and I'm having a great time. And I was a dancer when I was younger, so I also am just like enjoying that aspect of it as well. So yeah.
Well, you have sufficiently added a lot to my TBR.
Yes.
I'm sorry. If you get me like yapping about books, I will like never shut up. There's so many books that like I just love so much. So
I love that. That's amazing. Well, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you for
literally,
having
like,
me.
Core memory unlocked this one.
Oh my gosh, this was so fun. And definitely let me know if I can ever come back because I love chatting with you guys. This was really fun.
That'd be
Yay.
great.
Thank you.
All right. Well, all right, everybody. We will see everybody next week. Bye.